If you do the Mighty Five in Utah, don't do what we did. We learned some lessons.
Welcome back, travelers. I'm Donna.
I'm John.
This is Jack.
Through Arizona, Utah, Idaho, all the way to Montana and Yellowstone. And it was an epic trip. But we learned some lessons along the way. Mostly about the 5 big parks in Utah. Each park, and then let's say we started at Zion. We went from Zion up to Bryce. Mm-hmm. And then from Bryce, we went to Canyonlands. Canyonlands, we went over and did Arches. And then from Arches, we came back and did
Capitol Reef.
Capitol Reef. Is that the way it went?
I don't remember now.
See, this is why you don't do them all at one time. So it was Zion. And Zion, like I say, Zion was absolutely beautiful. Zion was crowded.
Yeah, Zion was crowded.
And probably my favorite part of Zion was the road that came across. We stayed in Alton, Utah at a central place that went across through there, and that was where we saw the sheep.
Yes.
We had the
that came down the mountainside.
The sheep that came down the mountainside and just took over the road right in front of the truck. That was pretty awesome. Mm-hmm. But yeah, and then we got to Zion and down in Springdale, and it was just crowded. Oh my goodness.
Yes. Very crowded.
Nuts. And then while staying at Camp Lutherwood, we went up to Bryce Canyon and visited Bryce. Bryce, like you said, and each one of them have got their own beauty. The hoodoos and stuff and the overlooks were absolutely stunning.
Yes.
And then
I want to go back and do horseback ride through the canyons, through the bottom parts. So I've seen them from above, now I want to see them from the bottom.
Okay. So Clea Maria spoiled you then.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what it was. But then we did Capitol Reef. And Capitol Reef was, to me, that was probably my second most favorite. It was kind of like I don't know, it's hard to explain. You have to go see these places to understand it. The differences in each one of them. Yeah. And then, of course, Arches. And Arches was another one. Arches, we had to have a timed entry to get into Arches.
Yes, we did.
And then once we even had our time entry, we had to sit in line for an hour to use our time entry to get into Arches. But I think Arches, because we were just there for a day, and we were boondocking out near Thompson, Utah, which is north of Moab, north of the Arches area. And we found a fantastic boondocking spot out there that we had to ourselves both. And we both got big rigs and both plenty of room for the big rig. These are some pictures of the sunsets and some of the scenery that we had. It was pretty spectacular. Now the wind blowed.
The wind did.
Good
the wind
Lord,
wouldn't stop.
Oh no! I've told others before, and those of y'all that's talked to us before this film comes out. I was a firefighter paramedic for 32 years. I don't get shook very easily. It takes a minute, and usually when something goes bad, those of us that are in the business know that's when you get calm. Sitting in the camper, I was starting to get to that damn it point with the wind blowing this thing around. We had some wind gusts 60 plus miles an hour while sitting up on the top of a hill, and there was no wind break for us, so it got a little dicey there for a little bit.
It did.
It got real dicey there. At least it was daytime. I was scared we was going to get rolled off the mountain. But then we did Canyonlands.
Yeah.
Now Canyonlands, the closest thing that I can tell you about Canyonlands is kind of puts you in mind of the Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
And yeah, y'all have to understand, we were at the Grand Canyon before we went to these. So we did 7, 8 national parks in a row.
We did.
Not including Monument Valley, Valley of the Gods, Antelope Canyon.
Yeah.
And what else? There was other stuff. But the point being is the things you don't want to do. What lessons did we learn? What's your
Don't do all of these at one time.
Oh, no. I will say, by the time that we went through all of these parks, it had become a joke. of looking at more red rocks. And I think that each park is spectacular. There's nothing wrong with each park.
Yes.
But I think if you do them one after another,
with no break in
between, they really start to look the same.
And then by the time you get towards the end, it loses its appeal a little bit.
Yeah, it definitely loses its pop. Like when we finally got to Arches, and Arches was a beautiful place. And it was unique in its own way, but we looked at Canyonlands and looked at Arches like, you know, it is pretty, and that is a beautiful arch, but man, I've seen enough red rocks. I mean, we've been doing this for a month now. So
we have.
A month of red rocks. So I think that next time, and there's going to be a next time, places like Zion. We're going to stay on the western side over in the Springdale area, spend the money, stay closer to the park, plan a little further ahead, and then actually be able to spend more time in the park. Because having Jack with us, we could only be gone about 5 hours-ish, maybe 6 in a day. So we really had to plan around, and it was an hour plus drive one way just to get in. So, and then dealing with crowds and stuff.
Stay closer in.
You definitely want to stay closer, and I think that goes true for all of the parks.
Yes.
We learned other things. See, we're doing this off the hip, people. This is not planned out. Plan your groceries in advance. For example, we were staying in Alton, Utah. The closest decent-sized grocery store, Walmart, anything like that, was all the way on the other side of the mountain, and it was almost an hour drive one way just to get to there. Of course, watch the weather. We did boondock a lot on this trip.
We did.
We stayed off-grid more.
But it was good.
Yeah. I have to, if you haven't seen our Facebook post, you know, there's almost 2,300 miles, 54 days, 10 RV parks, 19 days boondocking, and had a time of our life. I would do it again tomorrow. It was amazing.
It really was.
And if you've never traveled with anybody, having somebody to travel with, to share the experience with, makes it a lot of fun. It really helps, I think, helps make it a lot of fun. If you did it again, what would you do?
I'd probably spend time going on more hikes.
We did get out.
We did a lot of driving.
We drove a lot, saw a lot of all of them have got like a scenic drive, and we did all the scenic drives. But I definitely would hike a lot more. I would take more time, and that comes with being able to stay closer to the park so that we could take the time to maybe go on a hike and not worry as much about Jack. Dust was an issue.
Oh, yes, the dust.
Oh my God. Our poor truck and camper, I don't think will ever be the same again. I don't know, we still finding dust in this thing.
Yeah.
And mice.
Never had them before.
I think we've got them now, but
I hope so, because I'm tired of buying groceries and washing dishes.
And I call myself being pretty proactive in keeping all of as much as I could closed up, and I'm sure they get up through the underbelly somehow. So.
Oh yeah.
And get in, but they definitely chewed up our bread and potato chips and all of our stuff that we had already bought. So of course got chunked.
Yep.
So that's the reason we had to go to the grocery store. We didn't have food. We needed food. No, it's just a car. Shh. It's one good thing about having a dog. Nothing gets in the zone here without him letting you know what's happening, day or night. Nobody gets by for free.
No.
But hey, if you like what we're doing, we would appreciate the support. Please like and subscribe. Give us the old thumbs up. Pass us on to your friends. There's more coming. Stay tuned.
Bye.
Bye.